TCM.
Hello, Ben Mankiewicz with you. Thanks for joining us on TCM, where tonight we are guiding you through New York during the 1970s, a decade and a city that produced some of the richest, most provocative movies of the 20th century. Up next, a drama from a cinematic master who also belongs to the select group of quintessentially New York filmmakers of the 70s, Martin Scorsese. From Warner Brothers in 1973, Harvey Keitel and Robert De Niro lead the cast of Mean Streets. The screenplay, which Scorsese wrote with Mardick Martin, is largely inspired by Scorsese's own experiences growing up in Little Italy in New York, a colorful world of small-time mobsters and wannabe gangsters, a place where everybody is always trying to be a tough guy, or else, so the thinking goes, you're a mark, a sap, a potential victim. Keitel plays one of those tough guys. He's Charlie. Charlie is conflicted about his criminal life and his deep Catholic faith. He spends much of his time trying to control his volatile friend, Johnny Boy. That's De Niro. The story is not autobiographical. Lord knows Martin Scorsese may be a product of Little Italy, but he's not Charlie or Johnny Boy. Rather, Scorsese says Mean Streets was his attempt to put himself and his old friends up on a movie screen. He was motivated by advice he received from another filmmaker closely associated with New York, John Cassavetes, who told Scorsese that he needed to make movies with stories that he wanted to tell, rather than making them to satisfy somebody else's vision. Mean Streets has an intentionally edgy, unpolished feel that was more a product of necessity than design. Scorsese couldn't afford to shoot much in New York, so Los Angeles stood in for New York in some scenes. And New York is in no way Los Angeles, where I live. I mean, we have better weather, better bagels, better pizza, and better public transportation. Fine, better weather. That means that one of the most archetypal New York films of the 1970s, a movie that screams New York as loudly as a cab driver's horn blaring at an Uber driver who cut him off, was largely shot in Los Angeles. Still, Martin Scorsese did find ways to shoot critical scenes in his hometown. For example, he borrowed money from his friend and fellow native New Yorker, director Francis Ford Coppola, to secure a permit to shoot scenes incorporating the Feast of San Gennaro, a Catholic celebration held annually in Little Italy. Here is Scorsese's film from 1973, also with Amy Robinson and David Proval, Mean Streets.
You don't make up for your sins in the church. You do it in the streets.
Mean Streets is one of Martin Scorsese's earliest films. In addition to being a preeminent Oscar-winning director across multiple decades and genres, Scorsese is a member of a select group of filmmakers who grew up in New York and produced some truly seminal and evocative movies, films featuring the city as almost a character in the picture. It's a group that includes filmmakers like Sidney Lumet, Woody Allen, Francis Ford Coppola, and Spike Lee. Scorsese's cinematic bond with New York began at the start of his career in the 1960s. He built on it over the 60 years that have followed with films like The King of Comedy, After Hours, Goodfellas, The Age of Innocence, Gangs of New York, and the musical that gave us the city's anthem, New York, New York. That musical was one of several films Scorsese made in the 70s that firmly established him as an elite craftsman of New York stories. He kicked off the decade with his documentary Street Scenes, covering Vietnam War protests in the city. Mean Streets, released in 1973 with its frenetically dark and dangerous tones, then set the table for his masterpiece of the decade, Taxi Driver, released 3 years later. Coming up, our night celebrating New York in the 1970s continues with a groundbreaking, action-packed crime thriller directed by Gordon Parks with Oscar-winning music by Isaac Hayes. Richard Roundtree is Shaft, next on TCM.
Next on TCM, Shaft, then The American Friend, and later, Song of My City. TCM is music to your eyes tonight.